So how do you take that headspace, knowing that you've lived it, and connect with people who we know are living that right now, and convince them that they need to do something proactive instead of reactive? Because that's the hurdle.
Because I tell them, I've done everything you've already done, but I've already transitioned.
Now, I think this is where the conversation really starts to matter. It's one thing to recognize that you're struggling. It's another thing entirely to ask yourself, how do I use everything that I've been through in order to help somebody else? Because once you've survived your darkest moments, your story isn't yours anymore. It becomes a lifeline for somebody who's standing exactly where you once stood. One thing people outside of special operations don't fully understand is why mental health has become such a taboo subject, even at the tier 1 levels. In the organizations that I served in, which include special operations and even later aviation, there was a widespread belief that if you went to mental health, that was the end of your career. Whether that belief was completely accurate or not almost didn't matter. That's what people believed. We believed that if we admitted we were struggling, people would question whether we could still do the job, whether they could still trust us, whether we had become a liability. So what happened? People stayed silent, not because they weren't hurting, because they were afraid. And I know that because I was one of them. There was a period in my life where I didn't tell anybody about what I was dealing with. Not my teammates, not my friends, not even my family. Not because I didn't trust them, because I was embarrassed. I'd spent my entire life believing I was supposed to be mentally tougher than everyone else. The calm one, the dependable one, the guy who had it figured out. So admitting I was falling apart felt like admitting I had failed. And eventually that silence became incredibly dangerous. And it even got so bad that I actually made a plan to take my own life. And looking back now, it wasn't the trauma that almost killed me. It wasn't losing the people that I loved. It wasn't leaving the military. It wasn't failing. It was the isolation. It was believing that I was completely alone and these problems were mine and mine alone. And I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions about the special operations community, especially the tier 1 level, that needs to die a quick and absolute death. Because people look at organizations like SEAL Team 6, Delta, ISA, the SAS, and think these guys have their shit together. They're mentally stronger than anyone else. They'll never struggle. No. That's simply not true. And it's one of the biggest, boldest lies that we can ever tell ourselves. The reality is every single human being, no matter how mentally tough that they think they are, is going to experience adversity. You're going to experience loss, grief, failure, anxiety, depression, moments where you question yourself, moments where life overwhelms you. Those things don't care about what unit you served in. They don't care about how many deployments you have, how many times you've been to combat. They don't care how many tabs or badges are on your uniform. They're a part of being human. The difference isn't whether you experience them. The difference is how you respond when you do experience them. And it's exactly like fear. One of the biggest myths about elite warriors is that they're fearless. I can tell you they're not. Every single operator that I have ever served with has experienced fear on some level. I certainly have. Fear is a normal human emotion. The difference is, what do you do when fear shows up? Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward despite it. Because remember, there is no bravery without fear. And I think mental health is exactly the same. Mental resilience isn't never struggling. Mental resilience isn't pretending everything is okay. Mental resilience is acknowledging you're struggling, refusing to let it define you, and having the courage to ask for help when you need it. That's real resilience. That's real strength. And what changed everything for me was realizing I wasn't broken. I wasn't uniquely damaged. I wasn't the only one. I was human. I spent years as a tier 1 operator with ISA, and I had the privilege to work with some of the best conditioned human beings on the planet. I know what peak performance looks like, and I also know what it looks like when someone's running on empty and they're telling themselves that it's just stress. If you're watching this and your energy is down, your recovery is shot, and you feel like you're operating at half capacity, your testosterone is probably the reason. I know it was for me, because it's not your mindset, it's not your discipline, it's your biology. Human performance is veteran-owned and operated by other tier 1 one operators. They run blood work. They will build a protocol around you, and they actually know what they're doing because they've lived the same life as you. And I use them because I don't promote things I don't use. Because you're watching right now, you can get a discount of 20% off by using my discount code Viking. The link is below. Get the blood work done. If you're fine, then you'll know. If not, then you'll have a solution. Either way, you win. Discount code Viking. Do it today. Everyone struggles. Everyone. Some people just hide it better than others. And when I finally started opening up, I discovered that many of the strongest people that I'd ever known had fought the exact same battles. Guys I respected, guys I trusted with my life. They had struggles too. And that realization changed everything for me, because once I realized I wasn't alone, I finally started healing. And here's what surprised me. When I opened up, the reaction was the exact opposite of what I had even expected. I thought people would lose respect for me. Instead, people started telling me their own stories. I realized most people aren't waiting to judge you. They're waiting for someone else to have the courage to speak first, because once somebody does, everyone else realizes that they're not alone either. And I think we've had mental strength completely backwards. Strength isn't bottling everything up until one day it destroys you. True strength is looking another person, another warrior in the eye and saying, I'm struggling. I need help. Can you help me carry this? That takes far more courage than pretending everything is okay. We always talk about being brothers in arms, standing shoulder to shoulder, never leaving a teammate behind, having each other's backs. But why should that stop when the battlefield moves inside someone's mind? If we're willing to risk our lives for each other in combat in the physical battlefield, why wouldn't we help each other fight the battles that no one can see on the mental battlefield? That's still leadership. That's still brotherhood. That's still what warriors do. And here's the part that still amazes me. The very thing that almost ended my life became the biggest catalyst for becoming the man I've always wanted to become. It made me a better leader, a better coach, a better friend, a better human being, a better partner. Because the first time in my life, I stopped pretending I had everything figured out. I got humbled. I became authentic. I found purpose. Today, I get to help people who are standing exactly where I once stood. I get to tell them I've been there. I know how dark it gets, but I also know you can make it through. And I don't think that's an accident. I think that's the responsibility that comes with surviving. The darkest chapter of my life became the foundation of the life that I'm living today. That's why I have so much respect for what DJ is doing here. Every time someone with his platform speaks honestly about this subject, it gives another person permission to do the same. And that's how culture changes. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's this. You are not alone. Whatever you're carrying, someone has carried it before. Someone has survived it. And there are people who genuinely want to help you carry it. For years, I believed talking about my struggles would end my career. Instead, talking about them gave me my life back. Maybe it's time we looked at mental health the same way we look at courage. We all understand that bravery doesn't exist without fear. No one calls a warrior weak because he was afraid. We admire him because he acted despite that fear. So why don't we apply that same logic to mental health? Maybe asking for help isn't the proof that you're weak. Maybe it's the proof that you're finally showing the same courage off the battlefield that you've always been willing to show on it. Because just like there is no bravery without fear, there is no resilience without adversity. Resilience isn't never failing. It's getting back up. Resilience isn't pretending you're okay. It's having the courage to admit you are not, and then taking the first step toward healing. If one person watches this conversation and decides to ask for help instead of suffering in silence and making the ultimate mistake, then this video was worth making. And thank you, DJ, for starting this conversation.